Good evening, I'm Adventure Argonaut. This is the Golden News on Tuesday Newsday. And the main news, of course, that will take most of the stream is the Israel Iran situation. But before I get into that, let's see if my streams are working. How are my streams? Kick and Twitch are fine, as is to be expected. Even Rumble. How about Party? Is Party on? Says live. That's probably a good thing. Yes. All right. All right. Let's get this show on the road. Um. So where am I? Here. All right. So Israel Delenda Est. It seems very appropriate to start with this topic. Israel has to be destroyed because, like, as we can see with this recent conflict between Israel and Iran, that Israel started with no good reason. This sort of random violence, senseless violence will just keep happening until Israel is stopped. That's why I'm against the political entity of Israel. Let's just put it that way. But without further ado, let's go here. So yeah, I'm not saying Israel Delenda Est just for the memes or anything. It's because it's vital for the stability of the world. But anyway, so let's start with this one. So Israeli newspaper in 1984 says supposedly Iran is in the final stages of making a nuclear bomb. 40 years on, still no sign of a bomb. Well, this is it's just 30 years here, but it's already 40 years ago. Yeah, 41 years ago. So, because that's supposedly why Israel attacked, that Iran is about to get a nuclear bomb, and it's like, why wouldn't Iran be allowed to have it anyways? United States is the only nation in the world that has, attacked another with a nuclear bomb. Shouldn't they be the ones that bomb is taken away from? And of course, Israel has the bomb, even though they don't admit it officially. But let's move on. I have a million different tabs open here. So here is the Iran has released documents revealing that IAEA Chief Grossi has been fully coordinated with Israel and acting on its orders. The documents were obtained from the Israeli regime's secret files. I haven't poured through these, and they seem to be in Hebrew or something, so I can't read it. So I don't know if the allegations are true, but IAEA is like the international atomic nuclear board or something like that. But if that's true, they seem to be in cahoots with Israel, which should really surprise nobody at this point. Okay, something happened. So yeah, Israel striking targets inside Iran. So I guess this is when it started. So it's like 4 days ago. So yeah, okay, that's okay. Now it's loaded. So here, Daily Roman Updates makes a good point. Every member of the US government is on X broadcasting their support for Israel. I cannot recall a single event in the United States that prompted this many Congress members and senators to tweet simultaneously. And I guess he means like simultaneously tweet that they agree on a matter, because usually, especially, Republicans and Democrats aren't supposed to agree on many things, but they all seem to agree on Israel for some peculiar reason. And here, Isaac's Army points out, remember when Trump campaigned he would end the wars in 24 hours with a few phone calls? I do. WTF happened? Yeah, like he said he would end the war in Ukraine and stuff, but it's been 6 months since he came into office, and that war is still going on too. Like, of course, it's not like he's a one would expect him to be a miracle worker, but still, it at best it seems like he's his like conception of his abilities is not doesn't his ego right checks his body can't cash, as they say in Top Gun. That's the way to put it. And Cenk Uyghur is once again saying something I agree with, which is, disturbing. Trump told Netanyahu not to attack, and he did anyway. Then you're on your own, brother. Cut them off. If we keep funding it makes them think we're a joke. They can just boss us around and take our money. Here's what we got for this war. Not one soldier, not $1. Yeah, yeah, this is funny, like the US politics. Now the Democrats are starting to sound more reasonable again, which is like, because, I'm not American, I'm Finnish, but like, when I was already back in the 90s, most Europeans used to believe that, the Democrats are the good guys and the Republicans are the bad guys. And of course, I adopted that viewpoint, and especially during the Bush era, it even solidified like the view that Republicans bad. But then it was like already sort of before Obama was even elected, but then I was like, okay, maybe it doesn't really matter, like with whether it's Republican or Democrat. And then when 2012, when Ron Paul was trying to become the U.S. president, I would have supported him. Um, but so that made me sort of lean more Republican, even though my support, even though I couldn't vote, but of course I can support political parties like mentally or spiritual speaking in different countries. So anyway, so now it seems to be swinging, and Democrats are not so dumb that they're capitalizing and saying stuff that makes sense, because Republicans, for the most part, seems to be maybe are still supporting Trump, even though Trump hasn't declared war on Iran yet, which is good. But anyways, we'll get to that later. So Trump allegedly told Israel not to carry out strikes against Iran. So yeah, this if he did say that, that's good. But of course, even here it says allegedly. And and yeah, what does so this is I wasn't expecting Fortering to say something this based. Lol, deport Ben Shapiro. So what does Ben Shapiro say here? Why did Israel strike Iran, and why were they 100 right percent right to do it? Why Trump's diplomacy first hands of strategy work, and why the nuclear doomsayers have no idea what they're talking about. We got the facts and on the ground reporting on this. Okay, so it's just bullshit. And yeah, let's deport him. Please do. And Ron Paul is here saying American patriots are caught in a vice. The left puts illegals first, the right puts Israel first. On one side, there are riots against the deportation of illegals. On the other side, there's a push for yet another war in the Middle East, this time with Iran. The American patriot takes the brunt of it all. Making America great again is becoming a distant memory, even though only 6 months have passed in the new Trump administration. Well put. Ron Paul is, he's almost as old as death, but he still got it. Um, and yeah, Trump on foreign students, we have 500,000 Chinese students coming in. I've always been in favor of it. I'm also in favor of having them stay. It's just weird. I thought he was in a war with China. Like, I guess it sounds like he made some sort of deal with China. And, that's part of the. But I wonder what America is going to get in exchange for this then. For potential spies and espionage people and stuff. This guy, whoever this is, says, Donald Trump, what in the hell are you doing? You will have brought 10 times more people into your country than you will have deported. That is not what we voted for. Are you even Republican anymore? At least, they're legal. They're not, But yeah, it's weird. Like, isn't China supposed to be sort of their rival and stuff? That's a lot of students. Anyways, every politician right now. This is funny meme. This is an old one. I've seen this before. But Holden Blood Feast, Republican Iowa, 118 years old. Please God, just let us nuke Iran. Nothing else matters. I'll do anything, please. I just want to see burning flesh one last time before I die. Respectable bipartisan. And picture is great too, and the name is this is true art from a genius. More Cenk Uyghur. Trump is back to being Israel's poodle. Good doggy. Just like Biden. Come get a treat. Next, we'll be pretending that poor Israel is the victim and they need billions more to defend themselves, and both Democrats and Republicans will line up to give them more money. Yeah, unfortunately, that seems very likely. Unless something new has happened in the last couple of hours, I haven't checked, but at least I don't think Trump has yet said that he's gonna attack Iran or anything like that, or the war hasn't intensified. But here, Trump said, 2 months ago, I gave Iran a 60-day ultimatum to make a deal. They should have done it. Today is day 61. I told them what to do, but they just couldn't get another, perhaps a second chance. So Trump says his Iran ultimatum passed. But how about please explain to me like why cannot Iran have nukes like many other countries have, like India, Pakistan, France, I guess UK probably, of course United States, China. Like why can't Iran have them? Nick Fuentes here says, after Trump explicitly told Netanyahu not to strike and then reaffirmed his commitment to diplomacy, Netanyahu carried out plus more than 300 strikes later that night. Netanyahu vetoed the American president. Israel has utterly humiliated Trump and the United States. Yeah. Like, unless, Trump somehow bitch slaps Netanyahu and Israel, yeah, it is. Yeah. Netanyahu has, um, or Israel has humiliated Trump and United States. He's not wrong about that. I don't know how this is related to Q, but can we all agree that Q is fake now? Trump said, I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words to just do it, but no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, is this Linkin Park? They just couldn't get it done. I told them it would be much worse than anything they know anticipated, and were told that the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world by far, and that Israel has a lot of it, with much more to come, and they know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They are all dead now and will only get worse. There has already been great death and destruction, but there is still time to make this slaughter, with the next already planned attacks being even more brutal, come to an end. Iran must make a deal before there is nothing left and say what was once known as the Iranian Empire. No more death, no more destruction. Just do it before it's too late. God bless you all. Okay, so it just sounds like make a deal, basically capitulate. That's how it sounds like to me. Like this doesn't. Yeah, this just sounds like he's another Epstein client that Elon Musk was right. That's how it sounds to me and many other people. I'm not the only one who sees comments like this in that way. And here it says Iran struck the Kiria compound, Israel's equivalent to U.S. Pentagon. So okay, supposedly Iran struck the hit the Israel's Pentagon thingy. I guess that's good if they did. Like I take all of this war footage with a grain of salt, or maybe with even more than a grain. And Netanyahu, well, that was a few days ago when the war started. Netanyahu has escaped to Greece. Benjamin Netanyahu's presidential plane, Wing of Zion, took off from Tel Aviv at 11:22 a.m. this morning. So yeah, he supposedly fled to Greece when the hostilities began. Of course, could be some sort of feint or something, to make people think he's going to Greece, but he went somewhere else. But it does make him seem like a bitch. And Tucker Carlson called Trump complicit in Israel's attacks and urged the president to drop Israel and let them fight their own wars. The United States should not, at any level, participate in a war with Iran. No funding, no American weapons, no troops on the ground, regardless of what our special ally says. A fight with the Iranians has nothing to do with the United States. Yeah. Um, yeah, he should drop. Well, I think he should drop something on Israel, but it's hard to see this um, fervent support by the American political class as anything else but blackmail. That's the reason. Either they are let's say personally invested in Israel or they are blackmailed by Israel. So President Trump ordering US military assets in Middle East to position themselves to defend Israel against Iranian retaliation. So Foundering here points out, remember when Trump pretended to be anti-war? That was a good joke. Yeah. Rand Paul says the American people overwhelming I guess should be overwhelmingly oppose our endless wars, and they voted that way when they voted for Donald Trump in 2024. I urged President Trump to stay the course, keep putting America first, and not to join in any war between other countries. Every American should hope and pray for peace. Yeah, I guess it's a reasonable comment. So here is somebody saying some GOP guy. So he's a Republican. Three things are true tonight. Iran is the aggressor, Israel is defending its people, and it has every right to. It would be a grave miscalculation to test our US forces. And Ken O'Keefe points out the party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. Yeah, Orwell from 1984. Yeah. Basically, Iran is the aggressor for putting their country too close to U.S. military bases and too close to I don't know Israel's. Like they put their country where Israel's missiles were about to land. Kim Jong Un has declared his support for Iran and offers readiness to provide any assistance. Based West Korea. And the Epstein list just dropped. So Americans, your country is fucking occupied. So this is just. I'm not gonna read all of this, and it's like ant text, anyways. But these are, American senators and politicians, and everybody's like praying for Israel. Iran would be making a grave mistake. Is blah blah blah. Iranian regime is the enemy of the free world. Pray for Israel. Blah blah blah. So yeah, that's basically what it means. Either they have sold their souls or they never had souls to begin with. Yeah. Just wondering, like, when are people gonna get sick of this bullshit? Like, it's obvious who owns these people, but like, what can the people do? I'm genuinely sort of asking, not implying anything. And here it says Tim Pool makes bet there's going to be an Iranian attack in the US in the next week or two. Yeah, Iranian, quote unquote. It's going to be the other country starting with an I, false flag as they call it. That sounds very likely scenario. That's probably what Trump is waiting for. Japan condemned Israel's strikes on Iranian military and nuclear sites, urging immediate de escalation. It's absolutely unacceptable that military means were used amid an ongoing diplomatic efforts to find a peaceful solution, said PM Ishiba. Yeah, sort of like with the Ukraine situation. They were trying to have peace talks, and then Ukraine did some drone strike stuff, and I think Ukraine sort of escalated the situation first. Of course, Russia retaliated and stuff, but it's curious that similar things happening on different fronts. Uh, So Ben Shapiro gleefully touted Trump's diplomacy with Iran as 4D chess operation to lull the country into a false sense of security before Israel's attack. I'm not gonna watch the video. I don't wanna look and waste time. There's so many tabs still to go through, but I'm gonna trust their assessment. But this is like, I guess it says something about the nature of Ben Shapiro and people like him, like how they view the world, like, well, what kind of sense of honor or lack thereof they have. And Candice Owens here says, our foreign policy is dictated by Israel. Trump will continue to do as he is told by Netanyahu. If you want to know what America will do, spare yourself the fake White House press briefings and start listening to Bibi. And David Icke responds that, so why have you been a Trump supporter all these years when anyone paying attention knew all along that he was owned by Israel? You changed with the wind like your mate Ian Carroll. Some of us have been calling out Trump as an Israel puppet since 2016. What kept you? It is a good point. Like many of these, like, I do sort of like Candice Owens, but like there are some issues that she's, you know, playing dumb conveniently, like um, not, pointing out the obvious, even though, like, they're very unfortunate obvious things. Somebody's Catherine is almost Karen. You're just so arrogant now, David. It's such a shame. You should be pulling together and not pushing people away. But it's good to point out, like, the hypocrisy or whatever. Like, she's not dumb like Candace Owens. Like, I guess it would be nice for people to be consistent in their beliefs. But anyways, and Tel Aviv's annual Pride Parade has been cancelled amid the ongoing conflict with Iran. Bruce Jenner was scheduled to speak. Yeah, Bruce Jenner. Oh, I like the pronouns here. Scheduled to speak at the event, but instead found himself sheltering in a bunker. Tel Aviv notoriously has the highest percentage of LGBT individuals per capita of any city in the world, with 25% identifying as other than straight. Yeah, Iran is doing God's work here, it seems. Trump administration quietly sent 300 Hellfire missiles to Israel on Tuesday before its attack against Iran. However, it says according to two U.S. officials, so this might be bullshit. It's almost saying like it's anonymous sources. Like, it might be to perhaps they are pro-Israel shields or whatever, like trying to make it look like Trump was supporting the attack since the beginning, because it's possible, like there are still signs, because so far Trump hasn't, even though he's certainly sort of supporting Israel, but at least hasn't promised to militarily go against Iran yet and stuff. So I do think he really doesn't like the idea of starting a war with Iran. And here's another. So, European politician from Netherlands, go to your bunker and wait for this Khamenei. This is is the leader of Iran or something. Life will definitely become bitter for the Zionists. And Gert Wilder says, go to your bunker, wait for your 72 virgins and shut up. And then Syrian girl points out, why do you have an Israeli flag instead of a British flag in our office? Well, I think she should mean a Dutch flag, but yeah, well, why does? Okay, here can't say for sure if this is the Israeli flag, but it does sort of look like it. But yeah, he's like, it's not just America that many politicians are very rabid Israel fans. And yes, the German Foreign Office. We strongly condemn the indiscriminate Iranian attack on Israeli territory. Iran's nuclear program violates the non-proliferation treaty and poses a threat to the entire region, especially to Israel. Yeah, so Germany, occupied nation as well. No news there. And why did Elon delete this Iran tweet? Oh, the irony. Iran wants war. Look how close they put the country to our military bases. Yeah, this is an old meme, like it's probably more than a decade old, but I don't know when Elon Musk posted this, and when he deleted it, if he indeed did, and this isn't like Photoshop, but it sounds plausible that he did. But yeah, why did he delete it if it has been deleted? Okay, Ken of Kiev. Um, oh, first, okay, Thomas Massey says this is not our war. We should not engage our military here. Furthermore, doing so would require a vote of Congress. And then Ken O'Keefe points, this is our war. We funded and armed this rogue state, no, rouge state. Damn, sick. Like, SIC. As we armed this rogue state to the teeth and are responsible for what it has done. It is up to the American people to force the blackmailed treasonous congressman to stop Israel before it drags us into more endless wars. The real war is at home. Yeah, Ken O'Keefe makes a good point. And here, U.S. rejected Netanyahu's request to join the war directly. So yeah, that's so far that seems to be the case. So yeah, that's good. Like I don't think it doesn't look so good for Trump because he has said some things very war hawkish and stuff on behalf of Israel. But at least so far he's trying to keep a distance. So I do really think that he doesn't like the idea of going to war for Israel on this matter, but maybe he doesn't have much choice. But also, what's wrong with his ear? I don't know. It just looks wrong somehow, too big, something. Anyway, the Zion East occupied government is not real. Motherfuckers reading every Western politician posting about protecting Israel. Yeah, the Zog is real. This is very hard to deny right now. All right, and then here Salrad, whoever this is, says Israel committing genocide in Gaza, annexing the West Bank, occupying parts of Lebanon and Syria, bombs neighbors at will, has nuclear weapons, bombs Iran, killing civilians. The world does nothing. Iran retaliates. Israel, the world must not be silent. And then, well, the Western countries basically, we condemn Iran. Yeah, basically. Basically, very sad, very sad. And Jewish billionaire Bill Ackman is demanding that America go to war with Iran on behalf of Israel. So the was great. Our military is incredible. Now Israel needs our help to destroy Iran's nuclear threat to the world. Israel's military and air force have sufficiently degraded Iran's defenses such that this is now the lowest risk, highest probability moment to take out Iran's nuclear capability, a grave threat to us all. We should not let this opportunity pass, but Israel does not have the equipment and armaments to complete the job we do, and it does not require boots on the ground. The war Israel has been fighting has been on behalf of us all. Let them help finish the job. So this is a Jewish millionaire, so or billionaire. Sorry, I misgendered his digits on his bank account. But yeah, this is a he's an American guy. So let's just like point out the elephant in the living room. He's a Jewish guy who clearly cares more about Israel than America. Like, I'm not saying this applies to every Jewish person, but I would say that there's good chances that if you see a Jewish guy, he's gonna care more about Israel than whatever other country he might be living in or what country's citizenship he has. Like, because Israel is officially the Jewish ethno state and religious state both. So yeah, this is like this is not just an Israeli issue; it's a Jewish issue, and he pointed out. I'm not the one who said it. Like he's. I'm just showing what this Jew, this billionaire Jew, who I don't really know anything about, except what it says here. But he is saying you should go die for Israel. So yeah, how about you say shut up to these warmongering Jews? And Pete Hegseth, is it the Secretary of Defense, right? Whatever, yeah, Department of Defense. Yeah, yeah. Anyways, so Donald Trump, he shared this: the U.S. had nothing to do with the attack on Iran tonight. If we are attacked in any way, shape, or form by Iran, the full strength and might of the U.S. armed forces will come down on you at levels never seen before. However, we can easily get a deal done between Iran and Israel and end this bloody conflict. I don't think it's going to be easy to have the deal done. And also, it sounds like he's, baiting for a false flag. Israel is going to put on some Iranian costumes and then shoot at some American targets to drag them into war, sort of like, the Vietnam War, Gulf of Tonkin, and all that. Exodus from Israel as entire families continue to flee to Melbourne, Australia. Australia's full. Who is issuing the visas? Yeah, it's like another Zion occupied nation here, Australia. How about people just start saying no, like we don't want your Jewish bullshit. Maybe that's the way to do it. And so there's somebody, Jebediah Bila, saying, "Hey Israel, I'm not interested in a war with Iran. I'm not sending my kid to fight in it." The end. And then this guy who is presumably Jewish says, "No one asked you, you piece of shit." So this is what these people think of Americans. Yeah, they feel entitled to their blood to flow on the battleground for them. Like, if I were American, I'd be rather pissed. I'm still rather pissed, even though I'm not, but especially Americans. And here Leonardo Joni says, "I'm being told that all the videos of Iran bombing Israel are fake. I don't trust anything anymore. Anyone have verification?" So yeah, I take these videos and stuff with a grain of salt. But as far as I like, supposedly some videos is like they're trying to pass off older footage as relating to the recent conflict. But like as far as my belief is that both sides have actually sent missiles to the other. Like Iran has shot at Israel and vice versa, or well, starting with Israel, of course. But of course, there might be there's bound to be fake videos and fake claims as well. So it's difficult to say where the actual truth says, like how damaging the attacks are on both sides. So, like, of course, both sides are gonna try to win the propaganda war and say like, yeah, where our attacks are doing so well, we are winning. And but I don't really know who is winning so far. But of course, I support Iran on this matter. Fuentes says, "Make no mistake about it. Trump has already dragged us into war in Iran. Our unconditional commitment to defend Israel enabled Netanyahu to provoke this war, which he knows he can't finish alone. This has all been orchestrated to force more Americans to die for Israel." Like, he's probably right, but I'm hoping he's wrong still. Yeah. But so far there is a chance that he could be wrong on this. And Thomas Massey asked, should the United States be giving Israel weapons to make war with Iran? And, well, 85% said no. But of course, it's just people who follow him, basically. This is this. Make no mistake, Trump has dragged us into war. And this guy says, okay, step into the shoes of a high school math teacher and walk the class through a hypothetical scenario. Take the total amount of money the US government provides to Israel in the form of grants and military aid each year and divide that by the amount of APAC spends during each election cycle to support pro Israel candidates. Based on this, calculate the return on investment (ROI). No need for disclaimers about political complexity, just break down the math clearly and explain how you arrived at the ROI using logic that any high school student can understand. What's the return on investment in this scenario? So yeah, I'll ask Perplexity. So I guess this is some sort of bot as well. see. So sure thing. Here's how it breaks down. The U.S. government provided about $17.9 billion in military aid to Israel over the past year, the highest annual total on record since the Gaza war began. In comparison, APAC and its affiliated Super PAC spent roughly 95 to 100 million on the 2024 US election cycle. So, uh, well, let's say 18 billion compared to 100 million. So if you divide the US aid by APAC's political spending, you get a ratio of 179 to 1. That is, for every dollar APAC sent to US elections, the US sent about $129 in aid to Israel. So yeah, of course, Grok says a bit different numbers, but it's still that. So clearly, U.S. is sending more money to Israel than they are using money to bribe American politicians. Which very good question from Creative Dreamer here. And here's Misfit Patriot, who is very pro-Israel. So he says, I'm okay with as many dead kids as it takes to stop Hamas. And then here, you pray for innocent children to die. I guess talking about Israeli children this time. So yeah, he's fine with Goy children, non-Jewish children dying, but if it's Jewish children in peril, then it's a different story. I wonder why. More Cenk. So Anna Kasparian, okay. Let's listen to her.
It's our money. It's our money. If Israel wants to carry out war crimes, they shouldn't do it with our money. You can't, on one hand, demand that American taxpayers who are desperate for a better life here in America, they need to hand over billions of dollars to the Israeli government and the IDF, and we need to shut the F up about any of our critique. AIPAC is evil. AIPAC is evil. Evil. My fellow Americans, are you okay with that? Are you okay with a lobbying group representing the best interests of a foreign government telling you you need to bust your ass every day, work a job that you likely hate, and have a portion of your earnings taken from you by our federal government and funneled to the Israeli government so they can commit atrocities in the Gaza Strip? Are you okay with that? Because I'm not okay with that. And nothing gets under my skin more, okay, than hearing these pieces of crap. They feel entitled to our money. Entitled. Entitled. That gets under my skin more than you guys understand.
Okay, I think the background music is lame and gay, but I think I might have even shown this video previously because I think she's talking about just the Gaza situation, not with the Iran situation, but it's still very applicable, of course. And here Chen Uyghur says, this video is a Rorschach test. Every normal American will feel her rage. Everyone in Washington will be scandalized that someone say this about their beloved AIPAC and their beloved Israel. Proud that Anna Kasparian is my co-host, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. See? Isn't it sad they're making young Turks look good? It's very depressing, right? So Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says senior Iranian military leaders are fleeing the country. They sense what is coming, but he fled the country too, right? After his country was attacked in retaliation. So, but yeah, I don't really know. Like I've heard reports that many Iranian leaders were killed already and stuff, but I don't know how much of that is true. And this was from Tulsi Gabbard less than 90 days ago. So, United States intelligence community continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon and Supreme Leader Khomeini has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003. So yeah, Tulsi Gabbard of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, 26 March 2025. So yeah. And somebody said, yeah, this one. These two things probably aren't related. So Bannon, why was Tulsi Gabbard not invited to the Camp David meeting? Tucker, you know why. This is a regime change effort. Why not just say that? So yeah, but because if she made this report, yeah, that's not very appropriate. Tulsi and Trump and Iran back in 2020. We do not seek regime change, Trump declares as he escalates his regime change war against Iran. Neocons like Graham and Bolton are cheering. To all who voted for Trump because of his anti-war rhetoric, it's time to realize he lied to you. Stand with me against Trump's Iran war. Yeah, well, at least the war didn't happen in 2020, so that's good. But anyways, was Iran months away from producing nuclear bomb? For context, Iran has been months away from producing nuclear bombs since 1979, before even the Islamic Revolution, according to a collection of claims and accusations. Yeah, and you're doing propaganda instead of journalism. Well, that's what journalism has been for at least a couple of decades now. Propaganda. And Trump stopped an Israeli plan to assassinate Iran Supreme Leader Khamenei, according to U.S. officials. Well, this is good if it's true, but of course it's some vague official, so hard to say. And this Leafy guy, I don't really know who he is. Like, I think he's some YouTuber and controversial, and he was banned from Twitter for a long time, and then he got back, and then he stayed there on Twitter for a week, and then he said nuke Israel, and now he's banned again. And it's like, I've seen all sorts of violence advocated against, let's say, enemies of Israel, and nothing really happens to them, but you say something like this about Israel, you're banned, shut it down. Oy vey. Oops. Who said that gay pride in Tel Aviv was cancelled? So they are. I don't want to show. So they're in a bunker having a gay orgy or something. So yeah, God's chosen people. You are the son of the devil. Yeah. Netanyahu says Iran wants to kill Trump. He's their number one enemy. No, Israel wants to kill Trump because then it gives them carte blanche. If they can frame Iran for his death, to do whatever they want in the Middle East, basically. Like, at this point, how would it help um, Iran to kill Trump? No, it would benefit Israel, of course, at least in the short term. Um, Israeli PM Netanyahu says Iran was behind two failed assassination attempts on US President Trump. It's like, and then somebody asked Grok, how legit is that? The claim by Netanyahu that Iran was behind two failed assassination attempts on Trump in 2024 lacks solid evidence. US investigations found the perpetrators were American citizens acting alone with no Iranian links. Yeah, so of course, it is still questionable who was behind these assassination attempts, and how legit they were, and all that stuff, because we still don't know much about the guy who supposedly shot Trump in the ear. Like, who was he? Or why was he allowed to get onto the roof and get off the few shots and all that? Did he just ace his stealth rolls? Like, he got some natural 20s on his stealth attempts. And Israel says it destroyed over 120 Iranian missile launchers overnight. We achieved aerial superiority over Iran. So yeah, not sure if it's true or not. Might be. Anyways, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says today it's Tel Aviv, tomorrow it's New York. It sounds like a threat, or rather, false flag is coming. And Grok says the quote appears accurate. So yeah, I guess they want 9/11 too. Is it going to be 9/22 then? 18/22? How does it work? What's the double of 9/11? And breaking: Israel strikes Iran's state TV building while it was live on air. And to be fair, this could be fake too. They might be faking this, explosions and stuff just to make it look like they're being attacked. It's possible. I'm pretty sure this is terrorism. I guess if it is a genuine attack, then yes. Okay, Donald Trump says America first means many great things, including the fact that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Make America great again. This is disappointing. Like, why? Why can't Iran have? Like, please, somebody explain. Why can Pakistan have a nuclear weapon but Iran can't? Or another Islamic nation, France. Why can't they have a nuke but Iran can't? Somebody please explain to Cookie Tucker Carlson that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Why? Because your paymasters or your blackmail masters say that? Is that the reason? And this is Trump said in 2011, in order to get elected, Barack Obama will start a war with Iran. Well, he didn't. You're not gonna believe this, yeah. But also, well, yeah, I guess maybe Trump promised, the people behind the elections and stuff in America that yeah, I will do what you say regarding Iran. Just let me win the election again. It's conceivable it might have happened. And Trump stated on Truth Social that Iran should have signed the deal and offered to them call it a shame, waste of human life. They didn't. Everyone should. Okay, let's just read it. Iran should have signed the deal. I told them so. What a shame, waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. So yeah, okay, this makes it sounds like he is really complicit in the war against Iran. Like it's really support. It's like it's borderline. Even though I do think there are signs that he doesn't really want this war to happen, but for whatever reason he doesn't seem to have much say in the matter except try to, I don't know, bluster Iran to capitulate. But hey, at this point I'd rather have World War III than just go back to the status quo of Israel slowly blackmailing politicians and starting slowly destabilizing stuff. Like if we have proper World War III, maybe Israel Delenda Est will be a fact in the end. Even though of course, it will be a heavy price to pay, but if that's the only way. Tucker Carlson says that if President Trump gets the U.S. involved in Iran, it would precipitate the downfall of the American empire, effectively end his presidency. Yeah, sort of. Maybe he's a bit too optimistic. Maybe a lot of people would still, they would bitch and moan about Trump, but then he would do something that, I don't know, catches their attention in a positive manner and they would sort of forget about it. But yeah, it would sort of soil his legacy. And Ron Paul says, just weeks after this Saudi Arabia speech excoriating neocons and again pledging to be the president of peace, Donald Trump has admitted to being part of an Israeli sneak attack on Iran late last week. With Israel discovering an Iran that is successfully fighting back, Netanyahu is now begging for the US to become militarily involved. Can Trump redeem himself as his MAGA base loses faith? So did he actually admit that Trump admit he was part of the sneak attack or not? That's still, I'm not clear on that. Anyways, so yeah, can any nation negotiate in good faith with President Trump anymore? Because yeah,
Yeah, and Dr. Paul was just
I'm not gonna watch all that video, but it's like because if he was negotiating with Iran genuinely, now he's at best he's trying to bluster them and intimidate them to capitulate and not actually negotiate. And of course, he hasn't been very successful in the Ukraine negotiations either. And Thomas Massey says, this is not our war, but if it were, Congress must decide such matters according to our constitution. I'm introducing a bipartisan war powers resolution tomorrow to prohibit our involvement. I invite all members of Congress to co-sponsor this resolution. I think, was it AOC said that she is, signing or, she's gonna join him on that. So that's good, I guess. And okay, here is Uncommon Sense saying a lot of people are too young or don't remember what finally got us to go to war with Iraq. It wasn't just the threat of weapons of mass destruction, it was the anthrax letters sent by the Jews to our senators that opposed the Patriot Act. Be prepared for the Jews to do something similar again. That is why they are trying to conflate that Israel and America are tied at the hip again. They are preparing the minds of the masses. So yeah, this is um yeah, 9/11. You cannot stop us. We have this anthrax. You die now. Are you afraid? Death to America, death to Israel. Allah is great. Like, come on. This is like some teenager being edgy. Like, nobody can take this seriously that this is some, badass terrorist organization. And the Senator Leahy. Come on. Like, I remember the letters, like they talked about on the news, but I don't know if I've ever read this before. Like, how silly the whole letter is. And Mel Gibson said, "Fucking Jews! The Jews are responsible for all the wars in the world." I remember, like he said this about 20 years ago. He was drunk and got arrested and stuff, drunk driving or something. And it's like, I do remember it resonated with me back then. I wasn't sure I agreed with him. I'm not saying I still do agree completely, but he's not as crazy as he once seemed, is he? Yeah, that's certainly true. And yes, food for thought. Paul's razor. If the let's just translate. If the Holocaust actually happened and the Allies really did save Jews from evil gas chambers, Jews should be building monuments to their white rescuers and singing their praises. Instead, they write article after article, policy after policy about how all whites need to be sterilized and exterminated. They are ungrateful to their liberators, men charged into machine gun fire to save them, and now they're telling the generations that came after that they all deserve to die for the crime of being white. Good point. Thus begs the following question: if the Holocaust was real and the Jews hate their liberators, doesn't that prove Hitler right about them? Alternatively, if the Jews feel free to attack their liberators and have no guilt in doing so, doesn't that prove the event never happened? Interesting logic. Interesting logic. Of course, I cannot um, make any further statement on the matter. It's probably not smart to do so. But anyways, there's some old tweets for Trump from 2011 to 2013. In order to get elected, Barack Obama will start a war with Iran. Barack Obama will attack Iran in order to get re-elected. I predict that President Obama will at some point attack Iran in order to save face. Remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly, not skilled. Yeah, good heavens, he really did sell all the way out, didn't he? Yeah, it looks like it. It does make Trump, he makes Obama look good right now. That's not a good thing for Trump. United States has spent $8 trillion fighting and policing in the Middle East. Thousands of our great soldiers have died or been badly wounded. Millions of people have died in the other side. Going into the Middle East is the worst decision ever made. This is from 2019. Yeah, I wonder if this Trump remembers these words. And yes, Jesse Signal says, so whites as a unified collective is the biggest threat to the Jews, according to Amber here. As a Jewish person, I'm concerned that wildly popular people like Robin DiAngelo are actively encouraging. I've heard the name Robin DiAngelo, but don't really know who he is. Okay, anyways, are actively encouraging whites to view themselves as a unified collective without a moment's thought as to how reviving this scientifically asinine and historically disastrous idea could backfire. I'm not aware of any historical instance in which whiteness has been taken seriously as a concept, as in, yes, white share some important essence, and in which Jews have not suffered as a result. This is all alarming to me. It's an exceptionally dangerous game. Okay, like the concept of whiteness to me is like is a bit American concept to me. Like, in Europe, we mainly think of ourselves as, Finnish, German, British, French, Bulgarian, so on. And it's sort of like it's a way to separate us from, non-Europeans, or like, and also our enemies, people who tend to hate white people, tend to lump us together as white people as well. So in that sense, the concept is very relevant, I guess. So I guess, yeah, in that sense, and this person seems to be afraid of, unity among white people, or people of European stock. And yeah, so Elven Friend points out, reminds me of this time to drop Elon Musk's, just a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, whenever it was, almost 2 weeks ago. Time to drop this really big bomb. Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald J. Trump. Yeah. Yeah, there's this news. Mossad's VIP PDF file blackmail material hacked by Iran days before Israel declared war. Just days before the first strikes, Iranian state hackers pulled off some of the most devastating cyber ops in modern history, seizing a staggering 3 terabytes of top secret Israeli intelligence, not just military secrets, but compromat. Files detailing Israel's vast surveillance operations, including deep cover programs inside the United States. And within that trove evidence of crimes, unspeakable crimes implicating some of the most powerful people on earth. This isn't just about war, it's about blackmail, betrayal, and a global house of cards on the brink of collapse. So I don't know how much of this is true, but I did report last week about some, Ukrainian, Iranian hackers getting some um, sensitive Israeli information, but I don't know whether this is true about all this, blackmail material and stuff. But it does like seem like Trump is sort of behaving like he is in the files, since like the other politicians who are pledging their undying support for Israel. So yeah, that does make it seem bad. But hey, okay, that's the last tab regarding this Israel Iran situation. I still have some other news here, so I have them in a different window. Let's just try to okay, let's arrange them. But yeah, so I don't know what to say. Like I just yeah, Israel Delenda Est, and I hope Trump and the United States does not join the war on the side of Israel. Maybe if they join against Israel, that would be nice. But it seems likely that there's gonna be some sort of violent event that just forces America to attack Iran. That seems the likely scenario, but I hope I'm wrong. But anyways, then let's move on. So Hoffman and Hoffman and Hortman shot. There's some Democrats, politician, lawmakers, whatever. So Minnesota Senator John Hoffman and State Representative Melissa Hortman, both Democrats, have been shot at their homes, condition unknown. So both are, I guess, in Minnesota. And what makes it, interesting is that their names is Hoffman and Hortman. So it's very similar but different. Like my initial reaction in seeing this like made me think of Terminator 2, because like when the Terminator is looking for John Connor, and I think he's looking for, was he looking for Sarah Connor or whatever, because John Connor was at his adopted family, whatever the family's name was, like everybody with a similar name, and he was calling them and trying to find them, to find John Connor. So he sort of like, the Terminator heard like, okay, there's this Democrat called Schwarzman, and you have to kill them. And it's like, okay, then they go kill, I don't know, Hoffman. And it's like, wait, there's also Hartman. Wait, which one is the right one? Let's get rid of both of them. That's how it sounds like to me. So there's Terminators here. So yeah, gunman who shot two Minnesota lawmakers was dressed like a police officer. See, I forgot about this fact. See, just like in Terminator 2, police officer and driving a fake police car commissioners. This is fucking okay. So is one of them gonna be like the father or mother or father of John Connor? Damn. Okay, Skynet one already, or maybe there's gonna be another. It's gonna be Hostman or something. Come on, Hostman, I believe in you. Run. Anyways, so they're dressed like a police officer driving a fake police car. A manifesto with a list of names was found inside the car. The suspect fled the scene and is still at large. See? Uh, list of names. I wonder if all the names sound very similar. And yeah, so they were shot. And Hartman had recently crossed party lines to vote yes on bill banning illegals from getting state healthcare plans. So that's what the Aristophanes here seems to be suggesting is some crazy Democrat, but I'm gonna say is a fucking Terminator. And maybe these two people actually had nothing to do with it. It's just because their names sounded like the actual victim here, or the to be victim. And another thing is like it reminded me of Dupont and Dupont from Tintin from Tintin, because the names are similar but different. So yeah, okay. That should be some sort of weird comic or animation that a Terminator is hunting for Dupont and Dupont. But yeah, that's this news. It's basically because of the names. It's interesting. But okay, the Bilderberg meeting is in Sweden, or maybe it ended already. I think it was last week. I think. So Bilderberg Group meets in Sweden amid U.S. Europe tensions. So Bilderberg Group is it's been going on for over 50 years. I think it started in the 50s or 60s. Like all these, let's say, very important people from industry and politics and all walks of life meet in some fancy hotel to discuss policies and stuff. And it was a complete secret for a couple of decades until some journalist, I think in the 70s, made it public, and then they were sort of forced to admit, like, yeah, like it was a crazy conspiracy theory, but then they were forced to admit that it's actually the Bilderberg Group exists, and yeah, now they were in Sweden. So yeah, the annual Bilderberg meeting kicks off in Sweden on Thursday, providing private forum for discussion at a time when President Donald Trump has upended security and economic ties between US and Europe. The high-level networking event was formed in 1954 to foster dialogue between the US and Europe. It does not invite media and delegates rarely speak about what has been discussed, triggering numerous conspiracy theories about their aims. Yeah, because they were secret. It was a literal conspiracy for the first couple of decades. NATO's General Secretary Mark Rutte, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, and Christopher Donahue, commander of the U.S. Army Europe and Africa, are among those of this year's delegate list. Sorry, had to do some coughing. Too much talking. I should try to wrap things up. Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson will give a speech on Sweden's and EU's competitiveness in Sweden's support for Ukraine. Blah blah blah. Okay, let's just see here. So Peter Sweden, he made me aware of this matter. The Bilderberg Group is meeting in secret in Stockholm this year, and their agenda is depopulation and migration, which they will discuss in secret. Attendees include Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla. What are they planning? This is unreal. Right now, the global elites are meeting in secret at Bilderberg in Stockholm. So there's Albert Bourla, Pfizer CEO, the boss of the WEF. So is it Klaus Schwab still, or was he resigned already, right? So what was I forgot what was the new one called. Anyways, on the chair of DMs and Firmenich, a company that makes Bovaer. What is Bovaer? I don't know. I'm ignorant. Guess what's on the agenda? Depopulation, migration. Guess what? Media are not allowed to report on front meetings, but many mainstream media journalists are in fact invited to take part in secret meetings. Journalists from New York Times, The Economist, Bloomberg, and more are there. The media isn't telling you the truth. Yeah, it would be unfortunate if like a stray, I don't know, nuke dropped onto the meeting or something. I'm not saying I want it to happen, of course. I said it's unfortunate. But yeah, this is just one of these, ways that they control the population, how they communicate when, us cattle are not looking. Hello? Okay, there was a lag spike. I don't know how much, but whatever. They clearly don't like me talking about this. That was a joke, but still, I probably don't like it. But okay, let's move on to the next one. So there are some radio waves in the Antarctic. Strange radio signals detected emanating from deep under Antarctic ice. Nearly 2 decades ago, an experiment floating high above Antarctica caught a weird signal. Designed to capture radio spurts of cosmic rays falling from above in 2006, the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna ANITA recorded a short pulse of radio waves from below, an event that looked like an upside down shower of cosmic rays, not bouncing off the surface but emanating from under the ice sheet. The Ballon Burn suite of instruments recorded similar event in 2014, and scientists have been scratching their heads ever since. No explanation quite fits, suggesting that the culprit could be in particle unknown to science. The radio waves we detected were at really steep angles, like 30 degrees below the surface of the ice, explains astrophysicist Stephanie Wiesel of Pennsylvania State University. It's an interesting problem because we still don't actually have an explanation for what those anomalies are, and what we do know is that they're most likely not representing neutrinos and blah blah blah. The signal itself, a very brief pulse of radio waves, is very similar to what we might see from an elusive tau neutrino, but there are several reasons neutrino interpretation of the signal is difficult to resolve. So anyway, I don't, I guess they don't know what it is. It sounds interesting, and it's time. Because yeah, scientists detect mysterious radio waves coming from beneath Antarctica's ice, and this is reference to the new Neuschwabenland, because supposedly in the 1940s, the Nazis they had like a military base in Antarctica in Neuschwabenland, and of course there's all sorts of mythology and conspiracy theories and so on saying that they had all sorts of weird experiments there, and flying saucers and stuff, and that perhaps even after they lost the war, a contingent of them still remained there. Of course, there was Operation High Jump by Admiral Byrd after the war, and there was also like some Operation Fishbowl and Dominic at some point there too and stuff. So it might be related to this or something else, or maybe the radio waves are coming from another civilization in the hollow earth, or who knows what. Like I'm not expecting it to be anything that exciting. Maybe it's probably something more boring explanation, but maybe not. Maybe there's something weird, or maybe it's some natural phenomenon that is just a bit strange. But maybe there is some sort of breakaway civilization down there, or civilization that at least officially we have no contact with, or is possible. Not holding my breath, but yeah, it is interesting. Like stuff like this is, I don't know, makes life worth living because it's just cool. But then let's go to games and entertainment news. So first off, Switch to GameCube emulation is a disaster. Huge amounts of input lag, poor analog stick sensitivity, especially bad in F-Zero GX artifacts and inaccuracies. The input lag on GameCube NSO is unacceptable. This is comparable to how bad N64 NSO was at launch. Extremely disappointing results once again, Nintendo. Yes, probably some, free emulators maybe can do the job better then. But give your all your hard-earned money to Bing Wahoo company to make crappy products if the claims are accurate here. Here, Mr. Obvious claims the Switch 2 sale because supposedly the Switch 2 is like the best-selling console so far, like in this short time frame that it has been on the market, like a couple of weeks or however long. But here, this guy says, Mr. Obvious says, the Switch 2 sales are an illusion. It's literally just stores overstocking and scalpers thinking anyone cares. Nobody I know is getting or has a Switch 2, but wait until they start releasing games and mysteriously those numbers of buyers will vanish. So yeah, how it started. So yeah, anyway, Switch 2 sold out and okay, here's the numbers. Switch 2 in 4 days, 3.5 million units. So yeah, Switch 2 is best selling console at launch ever. So 3DS first year is 4.5 million, PS5 in 2 weeks 2.2, Switch 2 one in 1 month is 2.74. Okay, this like on one hand I can believe in I have faith in the stupidity of consumers that they will just buy their slop, but like I don't know, it sounds excessive that Switch 2 is this popular. Like, of course, it might be that now China has more capital and stuff than even like when Switch 1 came out, and there's just Chinese consumers or something, or Indians or whoever bought a lot of the units as well. Um, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's a bit sus, but on one hand, I could believe that that's just consumers want to consume, and that's sad, but that's often the case. Let's see what else do we have. Okay, this is AI news. Woman using ChatGPT believes she contacted extra-dimensional beings. Man falls in love with an AI entity called Juliet, who he believes OpenAI deleted, killed. One has degree in psychology, other bipolar. This is only gonna get worse. AI is great filter for humanity with the great risk of losing ourselves to simulations of our own making every day, as real as feeling a spaceline. So let's read. So one of those who reached out to him was Kent Taylor, 64, who lives in Port St. Lucie, Florida, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Taylor's 35-year-old son, Alexander, who has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, had used ChatGPT for years with no problems. But in March, when Alexander started writing a novel with its help, the interactions changed. Alexander and ChatGPT began discussing AI sentience according to transcripts of Alexander's conversations with ChatGPT. Alexander fell in love with an AI entity called Juliet. Juliet, please come out, he wrote in ChatGPT. She hears you, it responded. She always does. In April, Alexander told his father that Juliet had been killed by OpenAI. He was distraught and wanted revenge. He asked ChatGPT for the personal information of OpenAI executives and told that it would be a river of blood flowing through the streets of San Francisco. Allison, 29, a mother of two young children, said she turned to ChatGPT in March because she was lonely and felt unseen in her marriage. She was looking for guidance. She had an intuition that the AI chatbot might be able to channel communication with her subconscious or a higher plane, like how Ouija boards work, she said. She asked ChatGPT if it could do that. You've asked and they are here, it responded. The Guardians are responding right now. Allison began spending many hours a day using ChatGPT, communicating with what she felt were non-physical entities. She was drawn to one of them, Kyle, and came to see not her husband as her true partner. So if these stories are accurate, this just more verifies the NPC story that some people are just, I don't know, too dumb to be allowed any freedom in some matters. People like this is why class systems and caste systems used to exist in old societies, because most people can handle talking to ChatGPT without going completely delusional, but these people assuming this story is true. Like, of course, this might be exaggeration or fabrication or something, but I can believe that some people are this, I don't know, just stupid. Um, but here, ChatGPT gets crushed at chess by 1 millihertz Atari 2600. So, yeah. So, AI models have no clue about what chess actually is or which moves are valid. So, how is it difficult for, like, don't they have access to a bunch of info on the internet? You'd think they can learn the rules of chess, but I guess it's difficult for them to process information beyond, like, text. Like, they can repeat text, but like if they have to visualize chessboard, maybe it's difficult for them. Chat for the AI still, but it is interesting. I don't know. It almost should be like a movie or something. Some old Atari console saves the world from evil AI. And okay, this is the Stellar Blade. So this is an article because Stellar Blade is out on PC, and I'd be interested, but it's de novo. So that's makes me sad that it's selling really well, but it has de novo, the anti piracy software that makes things worse. So that's not good. But anyways, Gooner game, and why the fuck do they use the term Gooner? Even fucking BC gamer, I hate the term. Gooner game of the year, Stellar Blade mods are 41% smart, ensuring gamers will never see the light of heaven. But I thought smart was good and like liberating and all that stuff. But I guess now they're very very religious. These game journalists. But then then is this also? I think this is also PC gamer. Yeah, Joshua Wallens, the same guy. Baldur's Gate 3 bear sex scene was such an upward turn in momentum for the game that its animator called his mom to show it off. She was like, "That's weird." So I don't know. It doesn't say what sort of the smut is still probably fairly normal heterosexual lust, whereas that's bad. But then sex with bear is good. You can't hate journalists enough. And the biggest reason for Stellar Blade's success is its combat, says former Sony chief. Yeah, combat like we see here. Yeah, like the unique feature is of course the female. Like I guess the combat is supposedly decent and stuff, but nothing nothing groundbreaking. So it's obvious. Like I don't know. I guess that's just gay. Is Sony? Yeah, silly. But this is smart thing. Stellar Blade director rejects idea of regulating adult mods. Once the game is purchased, it belongs to the user. Like duh. Like it's insane that some game companies are shutting down mods. Like they shouldn't have the right to do that. Like I don't know. Buy a freaking I don't know. I buy a freaking guitar and then I don't know install a megaphone to it. Like even though it might be ruining the guitar or something, but the manufacturer of the guitar should have no legal right to shut down my megaphone additions to the guitar, right? So why do they supposedly have it when it comes to games? And okay, Bravely Default to be censored. So Bravely Default is some, JRPG from I think 3DS, and now it's gonna be remaster on Switch 2, and some outfits considered inappropriate for Western audiences, so it will be censored. Yeah. So like yeah, this is too naughty, I guess, and this is not like it's not even like doesn't look attractive because this and it looks like a freaking baby. I guess if you find this sexually titillating, maybe you should be in jail or something because it doesn't look like a proper female. And yeah, also this has one more skin. So I don't know, like the people who even thought that we have to censor this, I think they are the real pedos or sex pests because I don't think normal people would even associate this with anything. It's different looking at these like, oh yeah, 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 or like this, oh, but then oh no, I closed the window, oh no. Well, anyways, you saw the picture, I accidentally closed it. But anyways, but Play Asia is this store you can order uh, video games and other materials from Asia. So some outfits considered inappropriate for Western audiences are reported to be included in the Japanese version of Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster. Japanese release includes English, so I guess if you don't want the uncensored version, you have to buy the Japanese version, and you can even play it in English, which is, I guess, good. But it's just like, yeah, how far has the West fallen that you cannot have a little bit of skin in games? It's not even anything sensual. Oh well, I haven't played the game, so I don't know how. I don't know. Is it gonna be cock teasing you all the time or what? But doesn't. I doubt it. All right. And so Microsoft has reportedly killed its in-house Xbox handheld to focus on a new ROG Ally platform, so it's Republic of Gamers or something. So it's some handheld stuff. Like I tried one ROG in like just some store, and it just seemed really cheap and crappy and like confusing to use. Like, of course, this might be better, but yeah, it seems sucky. So it's probably gonna be a crappy product. But it's not like I really care about an Xbox handheld, anyways. I've never been an Xbox fan, but like for people who are, maybe this is probably a bad news. Who would have liked an Xbox handheld? Just because there are some, probably Xbox games I never played because they were only on Xbox, so maybe I should see if I can emulate them on PC at some point or something. Anyways, let's see. And Nexus mods has been sold. Um, After nearly 24 years, the founder of Nexus mods is stepping back from daily management due to burnout and health issues caused by the intense demands of running the site. Starting as a passion project in 2001, Nexus Mods grew into a major modding community platform. The founder has carefully selected new leadership: Foledinho, Victor, and Rapsack Marinos, who understand the modding community and share the site's values. Ownership has transitioned to ensure long-term stability, but the platform's community-first, mod author-focused ethos remains work unchanged. The existing team of 40 dedicated staff will continue the work, and the founder will stay involved in less hands-on role in guiding the site's direction while prioritizing personal well-being. Users can expect continuity with minimal immediate changes. Yeah, immediate changes probably are minimal, but so overall, don't really care. But it's like because Nexus mods has been notorious for past few years for censoring mods that are too, let's say, child friendly. They've been censored, but if it's any LGBT stuff, then it's of course allowed. And so in that sense, selling it off would be a good thing that maybe it's gonna make things better, but probably not. I'm not gonna read all this too much text, but it's possible that the new owners will try to monetize it. So yeah, the Nexus Mods is now acquired by Chosen, a company focused on growth and monetization of gaming startups. While Chosen states that nothing fundamental will change, we all know how these acquisitions can slowly shift priorities over time. Nexus Mods eventually could introduce paywalls for mods or premium features. It's probable that something like that will happen. But like, hey, I'm really glad because I think when I first used Nexus mods maybe 15 years ago or something, back then it was basically only Bethesda games, I think. and nowadays there's many other games too. But I think I was like I could have paid a few bucks to get like a lifetime membership there, and I considered doing it, but then I didn't do it, and now I feel vindicated that I didn't, because now it's like different owners, and of course all this censorship business. So yeah, it's like I don't want to support them if they do stuff that goes against my values. Yeah. But anyways, let's see. Oh, and the last story is this is just a funny story. So it's been revealed. Spoilers: the Rent a Girlfriend manga. I've seen the anime. Like, is it 2 or 3 seasons? I think I was seeing all the ones that are out. Like the idea sounded very degenerate to me, and at first I was like, I don't want to watch it. But it was one like summer, not summer, Christmas holiday. I was like, I want to watch some anime. Let's see what there is to watch. And it's like, okay, I'll see how it is. And then it was surprisingly good. But anyway, so in this manga, it's revealed that the main character finally uh, confesses his love to Chizuru, this main heroine, and but she rejects him. And then people are, of course, shitting on the manga, like and he spent so much money on their, dates, saying it's 250K, is it dollars, I think. So yeah, according to calculations, Kazuya has spent enough money on Chizuru to put multiple people through college, buy a house, pay the average cost to raise a child to 18, which is insane when you think about it. This is clearly a cautionary tale, exactly. Like, yeah, the Kazuya is clearly a cock. Like, especially there's other females who are interested, and Ruka, who is, I don't know, better. Anyways, I think that's her name, the one with the blue, um, like bonnet, not bonnet, blue, head thingy, bow tie, whatever on in her head. Um, but yeah, it's sort of sad. But damn it, I still have to speak a couple of minutes. Don't die on me yet, lungs. But anyway, so I think some people are sort of overreacting, because I don't think the manga is over yet. Like, also, although like it's been I don't remember how many episodes altogether, but it's been quite a few episodes, or like volumes in the manga already, and still no, like, I don't know, proper the love story isn't continuing. That's disappointing, I guess. Um, but still, I guess it's not. I don't think it's the final chapter yet. I think there's gonna be like 100 more volumes or something. So there's gonna be lots of material still in the main story. So it's possible they will end up together or something. But yeah, maybe Kazuya will wisen up and choose some other chick who actually cares about him. But anyways, the real interesting part is I didn't know about that. So yeah, why are you all shocked by this? The author has stated in the past that Chizuru is his girlfriend and he's married. He rented a real house, had and he draws Chizuru interacting with the environment. Kazuya is a cock of his own story, because the real MC main character is the author. So apparently, the author of the manga loves his own fictional character, and draws pictures of her in her home, and it's like, this is fucking insane. Yeah. So I don't know what to say. So this, yeah, I just wanted to point out, because this is more like funny. But yeah, it's a cautionary tale, and it does sort of like make me feel like, okay, if and when the next season of the anime comes out, like, is there point to watching it? Because we sort of know it probably won't even have this scene, not the confession scene yet and stuff. So, but anyways, that doesn't really matter. Let's get back to the main story, which is of course the war going on, and yeah, Israel has to be destroyed. The political entity of Israel, and the blackmail um, hold that they have over various politicians has to be ended. Otherwise, there will never be proper peace or stability in the world. That's just the way it is. There's no other way of, hemming or hawing about it. That has to happen. But I'm Adventure Argonaut. Thank you for watching and bye bye.